Hello, I am Meeson from the Department of American Cuisine. Let's start today's American stock news for May 21st. Today as well, I am Hwan Young-oh, who is watching over the emotions of American stock investors without change. Yesterday I shared a special video with several people. If you look at the title, it's a video that I made for individual investors in Nvidia with a very straightforward title and thumbnail. It's not just empty words. When I personally analyzed it, I thought of those who are interested in Nvidia and also those who are actively trading Nvidia shares. Watching this video from start to finish will give you a comprehensive understanding of Nvidia, enabling you to discuss it confidently with others. It contains a wealth of accurate information. So until now, the number of views has been relatively low due to the lack of promotion, but the broadcast itself is really great. This video is over an hour long, but I spent about 2 or 3 days watching it several times and sharing it with others. This is a video that I made together with Waifu. For many of you, just spending an hour watching this video could be a valuable opportunity to gain a lot of information about a company called Nvidia. For those of you who haven't watched this video until the end, I personally ask you to spare some time and watch it all the way through. And today's broadcast will be a bit shorter than usual, but every month in the middle of the month, I do a live broadcast together with the members of the paid all-in-one membership. So today I think I need to keep things even more concise. Today's broadcast offers a range of information that will assist many of you in your investment activities, so you can look forward to it. Let's dive into today's United States stock market news for May 21st. Today as well, I briefly checked the United States stock market situation before coming on. First, let's take a look at the S&P 500 chart. The characteristic of the world market stands out, and it was noticeable at first glance. There are red and green colors scattered here and there. And the second characteristic was that the performance of megatech companies was not good. Except for Tesla, all the other megatech stocks were in the minus. So, recently the market has been dragged down mainly by megatech companies. That's how you should see it. The third feature is that the color is very vivid. The texture is also rough, and the lighter species are not that light either. If you look at it, it looked like a mild symptom, but if you look at it like this, it turns out like this. Personally, I had a business recently. Moody's has recently adjusted the credit rating outlook for the United States as a country. But even so, it doesn't seem like the market is reacting much, or that there's a big impact. Right now, momentum is rapidly strengthening, and this is my personal assessment of the market's short-term trend. Now let's take a look at how strong the market's momentum is. Just before, I mentioned that the market's momentum hasn't slowed down yet, and that's what I meant. The market breadth is 78 to 37. With over 50 stocks above their 20-day moving average across many sectors, it's difficult to find industries not participating in this broad rally. Next is the advanced decline ratio. The advanced decline ratio has also been staying above 20 for a while. It's at 18.74. So, as long as the fear index stays below 20, it means the market is still maintaining its stability. Next is the fear and greed index. It's at 69. So currently, greed is dominating the market. What does this mean? In options trading, there are call options, which bet on the price rising, and put options, which bet on the price falling. Currently, the analysis suggests that more people are betting on the price increasing based on the available options data. Lastly, in the choice stocks provided by Maxim Score, it went up to 84. This supplementary part explains that choice stocks market score has recently been rising sharply. In a way, it shows us that technical adjustments are possible in the short term, and it is giving us this kind of signal. Yesterday, the performance of the United States options market was weaker than expected. As shown in the chart above, the Dow Jones, S&P 500 and Nasdaq, the three major indexes, all closed negatively. However, despite that, there were more stocks that rose among the United States options picks. At the top, B2 rose more than 3%, making it the best performer. Second, Nextera plus 1.11 Datadog plus 0.97, Salesforce plus 0.95, MicroStrategy plus 0.85, Tesla plus 0.51, Broadcom plus 0.46, And Clean Technology Plus, 0.24% also rose, making them positive performers. The next group was minus, including Taiwan Semiconductor. And manufacturing company, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, closed with a minus 0.03% performance. Vista was minus 0.18, and Bitcoin fell by 0.32% in a small drop. But despite that, Bitcoin is holding above 10,600, showing a strong upward trend. Meta was minus 0.52, Palantir minus 0.59, Uber minus 0.64, Nvidia minus 0.88, Amazon minus 1.01, and AMD recorded the biggest drop at 1.07%. But even so, since the drop was only around 1%, it wasn't a sharp or dramatic decline. This is how you can interpret it. On today's broadcast, I'll try to focus on Bitcoin for now. This week, the hottest asset by far is Bitcoin. So in the current market, there is positive news coming out that Bitcoin's volatility is stabilizing. Please read the content directly to see what it is. Bitcoin is currently showing a strong upward trend, approaching its all-time high. Bitcoin option traders are watching for even higher price targets. Now, let's read together to see how much more we can expect. In the Deribit options market, as of June 27th, the highest strike price for Bitcoin call options is $300,000. According to open interest data, there are two notable spikes in open interest for the dollar. 110,000 call options. The June 27th expiry option shows the highest open interest among all the expiring options. Now I think I need to explain this a bit. Open interest refers to contracts that are still active. Think of it as still holding the option and being able to profit from it. June 27th is the expiry date. Until then, you need to keep the contract price within the specified range to make a profit. That's how it works. Now, if you look here, the current strike price is $30,000. Now, I brought this up to explain it to you in more detail. Call options, to put it simply once again, are something that you bet on the price going up. The agreed price and specific transaction time form the contract, valid until June 27th. It gives you the right to buy the asset. To put it simply, a call option is like paying money for the right to buy Bitcoin at $30,000. That's a simple way to explain it. So what's the current situation right now? In order to make a profit through this option, the price of Bitcoin needs to go over $30,000 before June 27th. Now, if you look at it, there are a lot more $30,000 call options than $110,000 call options, so there are a lot of people betting on $30,000. So a lot of people are probably curious about this part. Then obviously the probability of winning is higher for those betting on the $110,000 call option. The current price is around $106,000. If the price increases slightly more, it could reach $110,000. When buying a call option, you might question why you'd bet on $30,000 instead of $110,000. Consider it this way. Because the probability of reaching $300,000 is low, the price is extremely cheap, so you can make a small bet. The $110,000 call option has a high likelihood of being reached, hence its relatively high price. Understanding this makes it logical, and in addition, in a relatively short period, the option price is still showing a strong trend, just like me. Well, I think I need to explain what the option skew is again. Option skew is the price difference between call options and put options with the same maturity. It shows which side is more expensive. So sometimes the call option is more expensive and sometimes the put option, which is betting on a drop, is more expensive. So when the call option is more expensive than the put option at the same strike price, we call that a strong market condition. Now, as you can see here, the option market is still leaning toward a strong market. And the reason is that there are more people betting on call options. This way you can organize and view the two situations. As of Tuesday, Bitcoin is trading at approximately $10,600. This is about 3% lower than the highest price recorded on January 20th, which was $10,941. If it improves slightly, it might surpass the all-time high. The rapid price increase persists. And then, after reaching an all-time high like this, the price dropped by more than 30%. Recently, in just a few weeks, there have been a lot of people who bought stocks at a high price and are now suffering losses. Data from Amber. Data shows that most unsettled options contracts in the last 24 hours are focused on strike prices exceeding $110,000. This means that there are more bets on call options. Most of the open positions are concentrated in the $105,000 range. So people who buy put options are also buying them not at much lower prices, but around the $105,000 range. That's what it means. Even if the price drops now, it likely won't fall significantly further, suggesting a support zone is forming. So what is the reason for the change in the positioning of option traders like this? What is the psychological factor behind this? In the United States and other major developed nations, the tightening cycle is nearing its conclusion. Inflation figures for April came in lower than expected, which was a positive sign. Now, if inflation remains high, interest rates could stay elevated. If that happens, it could be a positive sign for Bitcoin. That's why it's possible to say that the atmosphere has completely shifted in a positive direction. I've tried to summarize it as simply as possible for beginners. Is there anything else you'd like me to explain in more detail? The likelihood of reaching the next resistance line at $108,000 is quickly rising. Now, if we can't break through this new high like this, it could become a trap. The possibility of Bitcoin rapidly dropping back down is also high, and it's important to remember once again that Bitcoin is extremely volatile. But as I mentioned before, there is a resistance zone here. Currently, in this situation, I want to evaluate Bitcoin mainly as a major asset to hold in a portfolio. The reason is that even in two completely opposite situations, momentum can be maintained. First, if there are positive economic indicators and interest rate cuts are added, the stock market is likely to show a favorable trend. If Tegojuga rises, there is a high possibility that Bitcoin will also rise together. However, on the other hand, if interest rates remain high due to concerns about inflation, or if there are negative economic shocks or risks, Tegojuga will fall. But if you look at the recent trend of Bitcoin, it is moving almost in sync. So, relatively speaking, it is receiving more attention in this kind of economic news. He gradually began performing his duties as a reserve asset. So, in the current situation, when it's hard to predict where the economy is headed, it's a personal judgment that it's necessary to increase the proportion of investment assets in Bitcoin little by little. This confirms Bitcoin's momentum indicator. Among the 26 momentum indicators, 2 are showing a buy signal, 9 are neutral, and 15 are indicating a sell signal. Now, if we go straight to the chart and take a closer look, this is the 1-year chart. As you can see, it's very close to the all-time high. If it goes up just a little more, about 3% higher, that'll be enough, and then it could even break the all-time high. The pattern we see here is called a double top pattern. If that happens, the momentum can be further strengthened, and it can be organized like this. Now this time I want to show you the chart of strategy in the middle of the United States topping. What about the chart of MicroStrategy? Just before the double bottom pattern we mentioned has already been completed. That's why it rebounded at the support level. This part became the 40,300 level, and since it already broke through this support, it continues to show an upward trend. So, if Bitcoin's price continues to show a steady upward trend, there is a possibility that the price of strategy could also rise a bit more, and that's the kind of expectation people have right now. Next, we need to look at Tesla's story. Recently, there has been a lot of news related to Tesla. First of all, the first piece of news is that Elon Musk promised to run Tesla for at least 5 more years. He said he will definitely stay and continue to manage Tesla, so this has been confirmed and reported. And even more important news came out. Starting in June, Tesla's Robotaxi service will officially begin operations. This has been officially confirmed. Let me read this news article to you in detail. Tesla's chief executive officer is Elon Musk. He announced that Tesla's self-driving Robotaxi will start operating in Austin, Texas, United States of America at the end of June. Elon Musk said in a recent interview with consumer news and business channel's David Faber that Tesla plans to launch Robotaxi services in Austin using its own ride-hailing app and self-driving technology. At first, the service will start with about 10 vehicles, and if it operates stably without any accidents, it is expected to rapidly expand to thousands of vehicles. That's what he said, and additional information has been provided. The initial Robotaxi will be released as full self-driving unsupervised on the Model Y vehicle in the future. People are no longer necessary. This means that it is expected to operate in the form of a fully autonomous software-driven system. So there won't be any people or drivers in the car. It is planned that Tesla's staff will remotely monitor the vehicles in real time. And at first, the operation will be limited to certain areas within Austin, and this kind of limited operation is called geofencing. That's what it means by being regionally limited. Now let's move on to Musk. Tesla's Robotaxi approach is more bold and ambitious than Waymo's, which is more conservative like Alphabet, Google's parent company. Waymo uses LiDAR, radar, and high-precision sensors. However, Tesla mainly focuses on vision-based technology using cameras and computers. And also, the way to make it work best in the real world is to strengthen artificial intelligence digital neural networks and cameras like this. The reason is that it mimics the way humans drive. Are you talking about Ambient Tesla? Electric vehicle sales have declined recently, with car sales in first quarter 2025 projected to be over 20% lower than the previous year. Regarding this, Musk explained that when the factory was being expanded, production was temporarily suspended, which caused sales to drop at that time. He explained it like this, but now production has largely recovered, and that's what he emphasized. Let's take a look at the next original result. Lastly, I'll tell you more about my political beliefs. When asked if the chief executive officer's political views impact consumer purchasing decisions, he strongly emphasized, "Please focus on the quality of the product, rather than my personal political background." This part is a bit difficult. If we, as Koreans, are criticized for political or religious reasons, it's very difficult to maintain an objective perspective. So the political wounds that occurred this time are, after all, a personal judgment based on the listener's perspective. In the next article, Elon Musk also appears, and this news is about Tesla News, Nvidia, and AMD. Elon Musk and xAI will continue to purchase Nvidia and AMD chips for Tesla, and this has been confirmed. So, I wonder if that's why Nvidia and AMD's stock prices aren't doing well today. Elon Musk said that on Tuesday, Tesla and xAI will continue to purchase Nvidia and AMD as their main semiconductor suppliers, and this is what he announced. Musk's artificial intelligence company, xAI, currently owns the social media platform X. Already in the United States, 20,000 GPUs have been installed at the Tennessee-Memphis data center, and that's what was revealed. And that's what Musk said. xAI is also planning to add another 100,000 GPUs outside of Memphis. That's what was said. So right now, they've installed 20,000, but that's nothing. In the near future, they're planning to build a facility with 100,000 GPUs in the United States, and that's what has been confirmed. So in this news, Nvidia and AMD stocks are soaring, as you can see here. Something similar occurred once more. He also said that a few years ago he made a very bold prediction that the era of artificial intelligence would come, and now it is becoming a reality. The potential and capabilities of artificial intelligence are limitless, only limited by hardware development. The speed of artificial intelligence advancement depends on how quickly hardware evolves. That's what he said, and what this statement means. South Korea and Nvidia have the potential to maintain their top positions in semiconductors. Performance is more important than price. For artificial intelligence to evolve, artificial intelligence chips must continue to develop, and there must be a supply that meets this demand. So, the most important semiconductor is made by Elon Musk. Given the topic, reading more related news seems advisable. According to a positive report, by 2030, the sales of Nvidia artificial intelligence chips are expected to more than double. This is the opinion of TD Cowen. According to them, Nvidia's dominance is expected to strengthen in the rapidly growing artificial intelligence chip market by 2030, and they are expressing a positive outlook. Through this analysis, we can see that we are a custom type, what we call a custom type. It was concluded that custom chips are more efficient than general-purpose GPUs, and it became even clearer that Nvidia's competitive advantage is widening. Now, we have thoroughly researched this. Ultimately, commercial GPUs, particularly Nvidia's, are far more widely used than custom chips, and their capabilities continue to expand, leading to this conclusion. You can see Cohen's tech analyst file on the screen right now. This means Nvidia and AMD's technology is easier to explain and more advantageous for investors to understand compared to Broadcom or Marvell. That's the interpretation. According to TD Cowen, the entire market, including artificial intelligence processors and related processing equipment, was worth $117 billion in 2024, but this figure is expected to grow to $334 billion by 2030. If that happens, it means the market will grow about 2.5 times, and who benefits from this? It's Nvidia. If Nvidia maintains its 90% graphics processing unit market share, its artificial intelligence related sales are projected to increase from $100 billion in 2024 to $262 billion by 2030, a growth of approximately 2.6 times. The story portrays a resolute perspective, but it's not universally accepted. Some meeting members argue that Broadcom and Marvell Technology are developing high-performance artificial intelligence chips using their large-scale technology industry strengths, directly competing with Nvidia. However, TD Cowen predicts that by 2030, the share of custom artificial intelligence chips in the market will only increase slightly from the current 10% to 15%. That's their outlook, and that's how they're seeing it. But even so, it's not enough, and right now, in terms of market size, it's only about 1/15. And if the market size continues to more than double, then Broadcom and Marvell could also continue to grow. That's something we can look forward to. Now let's move on to TDK. Nvidia is still considered to be the most advanced in the artificial intelligence chip market. And according to performance tests, Nvidia's chips are significantly ahead of those from competitors like Marvell. And one more thing, Nvidia is... In hardware, software, and networking, Nvidia holds the most advanced technology portfolio in the industry. Did you know this? The ecosystem is already taking shape, and as I mentioned earlier on the broadcast, it's not just that the ecosystem has been created, but now other industries are also adopting this ecosystem. We're creating an ecosystem by combining our GPUs with Nvidia's CPUs, or our CPUs with Nvidia's GPUs, working together to expand the ecosystem. So once again, you can see that the shape of this ecosystem is expanding rapidly. We provide the advantage in generative artificial intelligence performance by offering NVIDIA's fully integrated hardware system, a vertically integrated approach, and strong software product portfolio compared to competitors. And if we gain an advantage in performance like this, it means we won't be able to secure market share, so we can look forward to it like this. Now, analysts, we are looking at NVIDIA's leading technology portfolio, Oran Youngshin's management experience, and the company's long-term investment in expansion as strong growth drivers for the artificial intelligence acceleration sector in the coming years. With this kind of backing, it's no wonder. Now, this time, I will add my personal opinion. According to TDCO, the artificial intelligence processor graphics processing unit market is expected to grow from $117 billion in 2024 to $334 billion in 2030. That's what was previously predicted. Personally, I think this figure is rather conservative. That's my assessment. For example, AMD's Chief Executive Officer Lisa Su made this prediction in the middle of 2023. She predicted that by 2027, the total market size for data center artificial intelligence acceleration would reach $400 billion. And then, right after that, she revised this forecast. She said it would be by October 2024. At AMD's Advanced Artificial Intelligence 2024 event, she further raised this estimate, saying that by 2028 it would reach $500 billion. That's what she said. So now TD Cowen is saying that by 2030 it will reach $3.34 trillion. AMD, Lisa Su, says that it won't be 2030, but by 2028 it will already surpass $500 billion. If Lisa Su's prediction is correct and the rapid growth continues, it means the artificial intelligence accelerator market could grow more than fourfold in just 4 years. And that's also the outlook for NVIDIA. Although no concrete numbers are available, current demand is surpassing market expectations, fueling optimism. They continue to say that the artificial intelligence infrastructure boom will last for several years, so there is still room for further growth. Many small business owners are skeptical and cautious about artificial intelligence's effectiveness, even in areas like logistics and agriculture. They are more critical of artificial intelligence's actual impact than its potential. However, the majority's choices regarding innovative technologies tend to be conservative, leading to a gradual decline in their dominance and influence. There is a very representative example. One of the most prominent examples is Professor Paul Krugman, who even received the Nobel Prize in Economics. He said that in 1998, back then that's what he said. A famous internet quote circulating at the time said that the economic impact of the internet would be no greater than the fax machine. The quote is still frequently cited as an example of an incorrect prediction even today. The famous quotes about artificial intelligence that we see now are only the beginning. In order for us to understand these new and unfamiliar quotes, we need to use these terms ourselves in various ways. In the past, I used to have conversations with artificial intelligence for about 10 or 20 minutes a day, but now I spend more than an hour a day talking and interacting with this kind of artificial intelligence, even while preparing presentations like this. Try asking ChatGPT about various issues, see what answers you get, and ask follow-up questions too. Honestly, artificial intelligence is a huge topic, and it can be difficult to cover everything in just a short time. So, when you experience firsthand that artificial intelligence is already becoming a part of our lives, you'll really feel how amazing this reality is. The next prepared article is about Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. It says that Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company may raise their prices by up to 30%. Let's take a look at the details of this news. Personally, I think the implications of this news are quite significant. The reason is that, as a key player in the supply chain, it's almost certain that prices will go up. And then, other industries could also pass on these increased costs to their customers. So this is an industry that has the power to set prices, and that's how I evaluate it. In some industries, when prices go up, they can't pass those costs on to consumers or customers, so they can't raise prices and their profit margins may shrink. So as investors, it's very important for us to identify which companies have this kind of pricing power and to invest accordingly. That's my personal judgment. Even in the United States stock market, there are many sectors with strong pricing power. For example, companies like Nvidia, Meta, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company Palantir, and Nextera all have significant pricing power. The reason is because economic downturns are frequent. On the other hand, companies like Best Buy, Celestica, and Uber have little ability to raise prices because they are in markets where competition is intensifying. So, if you understand these parts, I recommend you read this article carefully one more time. For this article, I will use the original audio of the American artificial intelligence voice that I borrowed for my narration. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, the world's leading semiconductor foundry, is reportedly planning to increase the price of its 4nm nanometer process products for its customers by more than 10%. For products manufactured at its Arizona plant in the United States, the price increase is expected to be up to 30%. This decision is due to higher production costs in the United States, new semiconductor regulations, and other factors that increased operating expenses. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, its Arizona plant, was set up under the United States Semiconductor Self-Sufficiency Policy. High construction and labor costs, global inflation, exchange rate changes, and the need for advanced tech investment have all led to higher production costs. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company stated that it has adjusted its prices in order to offset these increased costs. This price increase is expected to affect major customers such as Nvidia and Apple as well. Nvidia's Chief Executive Officer Jensen Huang publicly expressed his position regarding Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's price increase and emphasized the importance of price stability for major customers. Apple is expected to use Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's 2nm and 4nm processes for products like the upcoming iPhone 18, and with this decision, consumer price increases may be inevitable. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company is currently building 3 new fabs in Arizona to expand production in the United States, and this is part of a strategy to strengthen the supply chain for American technology companies. However, expansion leads to higher costs and management pressure, making price adjustments inevitable. This price increase is due to the rebalancing of the global semiconductor supply chain and changes in United States trade policies, and it is expected to eventually affect the prices of consumer electronics as well. Han Madi of Miyun. The news that Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company could raise the foundry 4nm nanometer process price by up to 30% is drawing significant attention and interest. In the case of major customers like Woosun Nvidia and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, there may not be an immediate negative impact. Currently, Nvidia mainly produces its high-performance artificial intelligence chips such as H100G, H200, and B100 using Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's advanced process, and most of them are manufactured with the 4nm or lower node. Therefore, if the process price increases by more than 30% production costs, and burdens will rise, and this could lead to a sharp increase in the price of finished products. However, I don't think this negative impact will be severe or long-lasting. Nvidia is already securing a dominant position in the artificial intelligence semiconductor market, and its core business itself is very strong. Therefore, the potential for cost increases for customers, cloud companies, and data centers is considered very low. In this kind of business environment, only companies with strong pricing power that can pass on cost increases to customers or consumers will be able to survive. And such pricing power is only found in economically strong players. When looking at the influence of the foundry sector and the recent situation of the global supply chain, it is possible that the abnormal price increase of Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company will be the first sign of the news we will face in the future. Just as strong moats are built over time, it is important to focus on industries with solid fundamentals and strong pricing power. The following is a list of representative sectors in the United States stock market that have strong pricing power. NVIDIA dominates more than 80% of the artificial intelligence data center central processing unit market, and by securing the supply of key components like black wafers at the lowest cost, it maintains a gross margin of around 75%. As a result, despite rising prices, demand remains strong. Meta Platforms, META, is firmly maintaining its dominant position in the social media advertising market, so click-through rates and CPCs are continuing to rise. 82% of the revenue in the first quarter of 2024 is being generated by Meta's pricing power. Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company holds more than 60% of the global foundry market share, and its competitiveness in advanced process technology is very solid. In the first quarter of 2025, the high gross margin of about 57% demonstrates Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company's pricing power in a situation where supply cannot easily keep up with demand. Palantir Technologies, PLTR, targets government agencies and large enterprise clients. Its data analysis platform is drawing interest as a solution to significantly reduce conversion costs. By the end of 2024, Palantir's unique market position and strong pricing power are expected to help maintain a gross margin of about 80%. Nextera, NXT, is a leading company in the global solar tracker market, maintaining a market share of over 50%. Its large-scale project orders are increasing, and the conversion costs after installation are very high. The company has solidified its market position by using differentiated technology to avoid price competition. On the other hand, the United States' top 5 items below us can be evaluated as having relatively weak pricing power compared to the 5 items above us. For VST and Talon Energy TLN, the regulated traditional wholesale and retail markets have weak pricing power, with prices determined by wholesale costs. Although they have the risk of power generation facility investment, the increase in fuel costs is limited by regulatory authorities, so their pricing power is actually weak. Celestica CLS has weak pricing power. The electronic manufacturing services market is highly competitive, making strong pricing power difficult. Companies must match prices to meet demands of major customers like Cisco. Pearl is a company, not a person. In this industry, large orders, low margins, and fierce price competition make substantial price hikes challenging. Uber Technologies UBR Price Agreement 3. Intense competition in the ride-hailing and delivery market, along with driver-determined service fees and reduced commissions, make significant price increases unlikely. Recent promotions like discounts and free rides have led to ongoing margin pressure. Moreover, in industries where supply and demand typically determine prices. In cloud technology, the rapid advancements in data centers and communication equipment like SERDS and Internet protocol sectors make it challenging to raise prices for major customers when the technological gap is small. However, the small market size limits the ability to raise prices. Trade Desk is an independent company in the demand-side platform market, providing differentiated data analysis services mainly for advertising clients. However, dominant platforms like Google and Meta face challenges in raising prices without restrictions. Today's content, prepared for the day's end, covers the United States stock market outlook for today. In today's video, Elon Musk is making headlines, and regarding Optimus as well as Optimus's potential, you can directly watch the Consumer News and Business Channel interview content to see what Elon Musk has to say. That's all for today's prepared content. Until the end, thank you sincerely to everyone who stayed with us. Among those watching this broadcast, are there any original members? I will make sure to see you again on a live broadcast after some time. We will continue fighting together until we fully withdraw from the United States stock market. Have a happy day, thank you.
You've said recently tens of billions of robots. That will take a few years.
It will take about 1 year, maybe a bit more.
That's very fast. Why do you think that way?
I think Hyundai Robot is the best product. It's impossible to promise. Everyone wants it, including myself, C3PO and R2D2.
Several people have said it, but the goal of many is to create a robot with just one name. By 2030, I said that several people...
That's what I thought, yes.
I think that's an appropriate goal. And next, about sustainability. How much longer do we have to maintain autonomy and preserve our autonomy? How long will it take to maintain the automobile? These robots perform tasks of various types. This is a discussion about how much resources are needed and the opinions on what is necessary.
The tasks are automated.
Time.
Yes, computer technology.
Time. It will take some time. It will take time.
We have to win.
There is a limit that we think we can achieve.
When Optimist watched a YouTube video or a how-to video, through the video, he saw how people do things. And if he did it that way, it really worked dramatically. If you reveal everything... So I think people will get there, but they're not there yet. Several people...
So Siri. Please proceed to the extent that Mr. Shin-Chung Jia comes in the middle. Your
Time. We're not there yet. Watch.
one thing.
What you're saying, the question, you what? I'm saying?
Optimus can transform into a truck in human mode. If you listen to the sound of the rodent's way, you can find things in open doors. Basic tasks, attack, defense, and so on. What we need is, I think that's needed to sort of bootstrap intelligence. So basic abilities. And I'm a very ordinary person. What I find interesting is that humans naturally play roles.
For example, say, how does a child learn?
A child has toys and plays with them like blocks. Eventually, they figure out how to match shapes, putting the triangle in the triangle hole and the circle in the circle hole. But by doing it over and over again with this self-play, once you have a lot of robots, you can do this self-play, which is that you just put the robot in a room with toys and have the robot literally play with toys. And it will learn, yeah.
Technology is at the core of quality.
Saltun is lying them, that's right. Changes are necessary, but it's possible. Next view, to solve these.
I think so.
And thank you.